Baba ki jai. At the very outset, I would like to give thanks to the Center Snoop Secretary for giving me opportunity to give class on our philosophical treatise, which was given. The discourse was given by Baba on 24th of February 1970 at Ranchi Jagriti. So, if we go more earlier, if we see this Baba initiated it on 1955 at Jamalpur, and which is given in Ananda Marga Elementary Philosophy, which was given in 1955. So then in 1959 at Jamalpur, now known as Baba Nagar, Ideal ideology was given by Baba as also a part, but finally as a sutra, as Anand Sutram, Baba gave it in 1961. That was in Jamalpur. So in 1970 he gave three treatises, social treatise also, and Dharma Sastra also, Samaj Sastra also, and philosophical treatise. The perennial questions confronting humanity are: what is this universe? What is a living being? What is God? What is the relation between living beings and the universe? And what is the relation between God and living beings? And what is the relation between God and universe? So we will come to know through this class. I will try my level best to justify this subject. What is the philosophy, the purpose of philosophy, the branches of philosophy, what should it include, the speciality of philosophy, of Ananda Marga, the nature of philosophy, etc. As per definition given in the West, is philosophia. Philos is love, sophia is wisdom. Love for wisdom. So mostly in Western, as a Western approach, this was the attraction was for the intellect. Eastern approach is darshan, this plus anat, that which is being seen, and drishyate anen iti darshana. The vision is to see philosophy from different angles. And what is objectives of philosophy? There are two objectives mainly. One is to unveil the mystery of creation, and second is to make the life happy. When human being has come on this earth, this is his main purpose. And there are three weapons of philosophy, which is called Vad, Jal, and Vitanda. Vad is to strengthen one's position through logic, and Jal is to demolish the structures of the other philosophy for doctrine through logic. And Vitanda is to capture the zone of intellectual influence of the defeated philosophy. When that philosophy is defeated, then that intellectual influence to capture the zone is Vitanda. Since now in West, mostly three approaches are there for the philosophers. And that is, one is Cynics, second is Stoics, third is Epicurean. Cynics is mostly based on critics or the Stoics are the sadness, sorrowness, unhappy, and the Epicurean we can think that it was based on materialism. So as per Western approach, as Descartes said, intellectually analysis, that his a famous saying was cogito ergo sum. This cogito ergo sum, that he said that I think therefore I am. When I think God is there, then God is there. So if we now see the Western philosophy, the Greek, it starts with Pythagoras and then Socrates, Plato, Aristotle. But unfortunately, Socrates was given poison. He died, and Aristotle was compelled to take poison. So it is saying that when Socrates died, the soul of Greek died. And when Aristotle took poison, then the mind of Greek civilization died. If we come to the ancient philosophy, so Roman philosophy, this civilization was remembered for army, administration, and law. This was from since 753 BC to 509 BC before Christ, which was a good fact and not an idea. Because for philosophy, fact and idea both is required, but it was a brute fact and not an idea. And if we see the medieval philosophy, which continued from 5th century to 15th century, in the series of Christianity, the Saint Augustine, his idea was city of God. This was just an idea, but never became a fact. So, like this, Hobbes, the German rationalist Nietzsche, his famous saying was that in the field of ethics, actually, morality is the weapon of weak to be used against strong people. So, Kant, he said about mind and will. Scoffen, however, he was pessimist. And in 18th to 19th century, Charles Darwin said about Vikasvad, survival is the fittest. I'm giving you a few points that this will touch the few important points of all the philosophers of this world. You know, Karl Marx in economy, how to bring changes, he said. But what is after changes? Philosophy of post changes, he could give, and so communism was failed. Freud said ego and super. So Ananda Marga has its own concept in regard of all the things. So modern philosophy, if we see, analyze the modern philosophy, humans and non-humans, it is seen as commodities with only utilitarian values. Only the means, not with an end. And due to which the present situation is, because this inspired the materialism. The result is pleasure seeking, exploiting others. Whatever now the society is suffering, humanity is suffering, is because of this utilitarian values, ecological imbalances, exploitation, corruption, crime, loss of faith, making human beings extremely selfish. This is the trend of modern thought against which an antidote is required. Now let us see the Eastern approach says something different, in which in the West, philosophy remains confined to wisdom only. Concerning thinking, whereas in Eastern approach, darshan philosophy are present and offers a suitable scope, scale of observation to see everything from angles. Hence, philosophy is defined as drishyate anen iti darshan. Now let us see philosophy during Lord Shiva. There was no such things as Darshan Shastra. Mahasi Kapil wrote Darshan Shastra for the first time. The fundamental cause of the mystery of this creation and presented them in a systematic way before the society of scholars. So, the other philosophers, Eastern philosophers, Sankhya, Yoga, Metaphysics, Nyaya, Mimamsa, Vedanta. Sankhya was written by Kapil 4,000 years before. Yoga by Mahasi Patanjali, Vaisesik by Mahasi Kanad, Nyaya by Mahasi Gautam, Mimamsa by Mahasi Jaini, Purva Mimamsa especially, and that become famous. Danta by Mahasi Parayan, which is a Brahma Sutra. And philosophy, Eastern philosophy in medieval India, that was Sankaracharya in the 8th century, propagated Advaita, non-dualism or belief in one reality. Ramanujacharya in 10th century propagated Visishta Advaita, means modified monism. Ultimate reality is Brahma, God and matter and soul are his qualities. Sri Kanthacharya propagated Shiva Dvaita. Madhuvacharya in 13th century propagated Dvaita, dualism. Nimbarka in 13th century propagated Dvaita. And Vallabhacharya in 14th century propagated Suddha Advaita, pure non-dualism. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he propagated Achint Bhed Abheda, that is the first time the devotional sentiment, devotion. Now, in this background, the comprehensive philosophy of Ananda Marga is presented for study and conception. It will help for the seminar. The human beings needs a new philosophy of life which serves the purpose of the idea that the ancient philosophy lacked. And the fact that the medieval philosophy lacked, that is, fact and idea both should be considered in the new philosophy, combining the ancient and medieval above all. The modern philosophy requirements of taking the life in its entirety including humans and non-humans, and for it should include idea, fact, and the nature of our created universe. To enable a comprehensive philosophy to emerge out, the dire need of present age is a philosophy, the life from its origin to its evolution to its culmination. Now let us come to our philosophical treatise. Usually a philosophical treatise has 4 branches. That is, one is ontology, Ishwar Tattva. Second is metaphysics, Srishti Tattva. Third is ethics, Niti Tattva, we can say. Fourth, epistemology, Gyan Tattva. But in Ananda Marga Philosophy, 2 more branches in addition to the above mentioned 4 have been added to make it comprehensive and practical. And they are psychology, Manovigyan. This is 5th one, and 6th one is spiritual cult. In Western philosophy, there is no mention of a spiritual cult because Western philosophers had no opportunity to learn such a cult. The main reason is that in the theology prevalent in the West, spiritual cult was not discovered. So let us start with ontology, study of God. The purpose of ontology is to give an explanation of God. But so far, no philosophy gives a clear explanation of the concept of God. A clear explanation was very essential regarding the relationship of the created being with God. And with, if you can put the PowerPoint, if Arishanji can put PowerPoint, Western approach of ancient views in Greeks, Aristotle said that he gave the philosophy the unmoved mover. The universe is a single causal system is through an examination of the notion of movement. Everything that is in motion is moved by something else. And he offers a number of unconvincing arguments to this effect. He then argues that there cannot be finite movers. On such a principle, Aristotle says, depend the heavens and the world of nature. Aristotle is prepared to call the unmoved mover God. The life of God, he says, must be like the very best of human life. The delight that a human being takes in the sublimest moment of philosophical contemplation is in God a perpetual state. He said, Aristotle said, does God think of? Then he must think of eternity. If God were thinking of anything other than himself, he would be somehow degraded. So he must be thinking of himself, the supreme being, and his life is a thinking of thinking. Now let us see Romans, Zeno. He said the universe, in Zeno's view, is God. This universe is God. This divine fire on ether is the basis of all activity. in the universe.
अपनी जगह पे जा रहे हैं.
And medieval philosophy, the medieval philosophers Saint Augustine said soul as a created being. Human being is compound of body and soul. He convinced of both God and the soul as material entities. The soul being in fact a portion of God that had fallen into the corporal world where it remained a form. And the St. Thomas Aquinas in 13th century, he gave 5 logical arguments regarding the existence of God. The first was, the argument was from first mover. The second was the argument from causation, that is a cause on the basis of cause of everything, cause of the universe. Third, the argument from contingency. Fourth, the argument from degree. And fifth, the argument from final cause or ends. That is a teleological argument. Modern philosophies, René Descartes, as he said, he actually gave in the meditation, Descartes provides 2 arguments for the existence of God. First, he said, he presents a version of ontological argument which attempts to deduce the existence of God from the nature of God. And second argument for the existence of God from one of the effect of God's activities. That he has an idea of God and concludes that the mere fact that I exist and have within me an idea of a most perfect being, that is God. It is not surprise that God in creating me should have placed this idea in me to be where the mark of craftsman is stamped on his work as cogito ergo sum. I think, therefore I. In Baruch Spinoza, his ontological argument, he said his proof for God follows a similar structure as Descartes' ontological arguments. Spinoza says man's ideas do not come from himself, but from some sort of external cause. So if man has the idea of God, then God must exist before this thought, because man cannot create an idea of his own imagination. And in substance of God, God is this sum of the natural and physical laws of the universe, and certainly not an individual entity or creator. God is the only substance in the universe, and everything is a part of God. Whatever is in God, and nothing can be or be conceived without God. Now the important point is, in this all Eastern, Western, medieval, ancient and modern, whatever now we comprehend, the comprehensive approach, there are no clear-cut idea and explanation about God. He was accepted out of fear, or out of fear of hell or charm of heaven. There was no natural attraction created for him in the entire Western philosophy. There was also no approach of how to come close to him to know him, to be one with him, human mind did not receive the guidance or cult in the West. So the search continued, left a question to answer for a future philosophy. The entire gamut of Western philosophy appears to be just a mental exercise which remains confined to the will and wisdom only. Now, in Eastern approach, what Sankhya said about, what Kapil said in Sankhya philosophy about God, let us go through it. The 6 schools of philosophy, the founder of the 6 schools of philosophy, the philosophers, what they said about the ontology. Let us analyze this, what they said, and where are the defects, and how the Ananda Marga fulfills the philosophical treatise or the philosophy of Ananda Marga, how it fulfills and establishes the perfection about the existence of Ishwar. So the Sankhya did not clarify the existence of God. He proclaimed that Atma, soul, or Purusha, consciousness, is present in every living being, and so there are innumerable Purushas. Ananda Marga believes in monism. But, so there are innumerable Purushas, but there is only one primordial Prakriti, and this primordial Prakriti is the main cause of the creation of this universe. And Prakriti is Pradhan. Here Prakriti is the predominant. He recognized the existence of Purusha or Atma in every entity, but the concept of Ishwar remained unexplained. Mahasi Kapila did not clearly explain the concept of liberation. Although he said something about Sankalpa and Vikalpa of the human mind. And the Mahasi Patanjali, Patanjali Yoga Sutram, or Saishwar Sankhya, which is an eloquent testimony to his high degree of intellect and erudition, corrected some of the basic defects of the Sankhya philosophy, but in some matters he lagged behind. Some aspects of the philosophy is it accepted the existence of the all-controlling Ishvara and provided spiritual aspirants valuable guidelines for the intuitional practices. It failed to demarcate the relation between the Jivas and Ishvara. It did not explain clearly that conclusively how Ishwar exercises his supreme authority in controlling the universe. Why people should practice yoga, and why they should try to suspend all their exciting processes, etc. And there is in Patanjali no concept of devotion, no concept of liberation. Patanjali Yoga is a dull and dry school of yogic discipline. Where there is no devotion, there is no way of for celebration or liberation. And in Vaisesic philosophy, Mahasi Kanad said plurality of God. He declared Karan Bhavat Karya Bhava. Where there is no cause, there is no effect. There is no doubt the theory of the law of causation was an extremely novel idea in the world of philosophy of those days, but it is also true that we must trace the source of the first effect, that is, trace the first cause in the procession of causation. He explained that the cosmic mind, which is manifested in the form of countless molecules, atoms, protons, neutrons, etc., must have a cause. To define cause is the height of intellectual folly. That entity which controls the association of these particles is Swara, as per you, as per the Vaisesic. And that was the great revolution those days in the world. He was both a philosopher and a scientist. One pertinent question remains: how did this concept of Ishwar arise in philosophical analysis? And is this Ishwara a witnessing entity or a philosophical entity? Is it a causal entity or an instrumental entity? The Vaisesic school of philosophy is not at all explicit on these points. Now let us see Nyaya, that is given by Mahasi Gautam, plurality of God. Here he said actually about the most, we can say that in the field of epistemology, that is a third branch of philosophy. So he said his theory is Nyaya, science of reasoning, debate, logic, epistemology. That is a Pratyaksh Anuman. So I am not going to touch here. I am not going to explain here. And then Mimamsa, the Acharya Jaimini became famous as the propounder of the Purvamimamsa philosophy. Only Brahma exists, nothing else. He said, illusory entity called Maya is creating all these illusory ideas. Maya is unreal. Her existence also is false. And she is aghatan ghatan patiyasi. Means she is capable of making unreal things appear to be real, but she does not exist either. There exists only one entity, Brahma, and nothing else. If the entire world is false, then it has no value and the creator himself loses his importance. In the sense of the creation, the existence of the creator is also jeopardized. And now the Vedanta, that is a 200 BC, Mahasi Badrayan, the Brahma Sutra was given. So mostly it is a, Vedanta implies the philosophy of the Upanishad, the concluding portion of the Vedas. So about 2500 years ago, when the son of Ars Dharma Vedanta was about to set. So this also is not very important to discuss. Now let us see the Buddhism, Gautam Buddha, who came 2500 years ago. So it is true that Buddha did not explicitly mention Ishvara, but it is also true that he never declared Ishvara. He was once asked, Kim Bhagavat Atti, does God exist? Buddha did not answer. He was again asked, Kim Bhagavat Nati, then does God not exist? Again Buddha remained silent. And these three types of people formed three different ideas about Buddha. One group thought that since Buddha did not answer the question about the existence of God, he must be an atheist. And another group thought, since Buddha did not answer the question, does God then not exist? Then he must be a theist, a believer in God. And another group, the third group, thought God's existence is beyond the sankalpa and vikalpa of the human mind, so beyond the scope of yes or no, ati and nati, existence and non-existence, and for that reason Buddha preferred to remain silent. And regarding Jivatma, unit consciousness, Buddha did not use the term Jivatma or any such word, but he uttered one sentence, Attahi Attanam Nat. This sentence may have two meanings. One meaning is, one is the Lord of one's own self, and the other is Atma is the Lord of Atma. It is true that Buddha did not support the Vedas, but while teaching his philosophy, he remarked, Esa Dhamma Sanatana, this is the eternal Dharma. Buddha clearly and firmly supported the doctrine of rebirth. In fact, no doctrine before him had placed as much stress on the theory of rebirth as his did. One who accepts the theory of rebirth is bound to accept the existence of Atma also. So this sort of negative attitude towards everything breeds cynicism, Sunyavad. So the here more concerned with ontology is this much only about Buddha. Next, so many things he said about ethics also, and Four Noble Truths, that there is suffering, there is a cause of suffering, there is cessation of suffering, and there way to cessation. Four Noble Truths, he said. Now we can see the Jainism. Jainism, this is a, he said actually Bardhaman gave importance to ahimsa, but was not empathic about morality. Bardhaman Mahavir did not altogether deny the existence of the world. He was somewhat detached from practical life. The Jain religion based on rigorous austerity and renunciation. And then now the Sankaracharya in 8th century, non-dualism. So already I said about Maya and Charvak. Now he completely denied moral principles and human values. He said, Java Jivet, Sukham Jivet, Rinam Kritva, Dhritam Pivet. This kind of remark will propel people to the depth of animality, where each person will mistrust others. Baba said, an exploitation will roll the wheels of its chariot over the ribs of human beings. The very foundation of human life will be demolished. So this concept completely is negative approach, and people will become materialistic. They will exploit, they will become self-centered. They will ignore the truth of life, absolute truth of life. How they will go and reach to their goal of life. According to Charvak philosophy, the human mind or human consciousness is a fifth factor, born out of mixture of four factors, that is a solid, liquid, fire and air. It is easily proved that the material world is composed of 5 fundamental factors. If one denies the existence of ethereal factor, then present day science and technology becomes ineffective. From such a materialistic philosophy, people do not expect anything leading to their mental and spiritual development. So Baba completely neglected. Materialism is the most dangerous. It is suicidal philosophy. And already about the medieval philosophers, already I said about the Ramanujacharya, Madhuvratananda. We don't need to explain much here. And now by surveying the whole spectrum of Eastern philosophy, the reader comes to a fix on what exactly is the nature and form of God. We can know the nature and form of God. Which God is my real creator? Who is my object of ideation? This needed a clear explanation. This leaves a wide scope for interpretations of a new philosophy. Anandam, now you can see, and Anand Sutra answers these questions. Who is object of ideation? This needed a clear explanation. This leaves a wide scope for interpretation through a new philosophy. Anand Sutram answers these questions. This Ananda Marga believes in monotheism, number one. Two, in Ananda Marga, they represent the different functional aspect of Param Purush. Brahma is the philosophical term. And now we can say the Anukula Vedaniyam Sukham Anantam Anandam Brahmityahu. Brahma is the name given to the ultimate quality of happiness. And Satyaktakam Brahma. Who is Brahma? Brahma is the composite of Shiva and Shakti. Shiva or cognitive force is both the material and the efficient cause. Shakti or operative force is only the efficient cause. Shakti is merely subservient. Shiva Shakti has no existence separate from Shiva. This is a clear concept of Ananda, as per Ananda Sutra, in light of Ananda Sutra. The supreme entity playing the role of the controller of the twinkle mental universe in the cosmic cycle. Each and every entity is moving around Param Purushottama. The closer the microcosm feels, the less the radius is. So, on ontology, there is only this supreme Brahma and no other entity. He controls this perceptible world through his Prakriti, and at the time of universe annihilation, the entire creation merges in him. He is concealing himself in his own created universe. Brahma is the name given to the ultimate quality of happiness. And Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. Now two main name is there for God, Nirguna and Saguna. Are two aspects of one and the same Brahma. They are not two different Brahmas. This should be clearly mentioned that Ananda Marga is absolute monism. It is not dualism. A question may arise: how can Ananda Marga be called monism when it declares that Shiva and Shakti are separate entities? Shakti is merely subservient to Shiva. Shakti has no existence separate from Shiva. Each and every Hansa, living being, is called Hansa, and the inanimate world, inanimate object is called inanimate Sanstha. Is moving around Purushottam on its respective axis. And what is Purushottam? Nirguna and Saguna, when there is no binding of the principles of the Prakriti, is Nirguna, and when there is bondages, under the influence of the Prakriti, the forces, three forces of Prakriti, then it is a Saguna. But now I will explain about Purushottam. Central point of such a triangle of forces is known as Purushottam, of Guntrikona. That central point from where creation is going to start, that is a beach, that is also called Shiva and Shakti. So, anyway, I'm not going to write, it will take a lot of time. So, the Purushottam is the subjective Shiva. This Purushottam is the nucleus of all the creative principles. The supreme entity, control of the twinkle mental universe, is called Purushottam. And the Ishvara, that I'm going to give the definition of all the gods' name as per attributes into Ananda Marga, so it can clarify ontology. It may take little time. It is a very vast subject. It has been given in spiritual, this philosophical treatise only 3 pages, but it is a vast scope. And there is something very important which clearly leads us to the liberation. So the Ishvara, there is another word in Ishvara, Ishati Jahasa Ishvara. So this Sa Ishvara Antvachniyam Param Prem Swarupam. So about God also we know G for generator, O for operator, D for destroyer, and Brahma is Brihatvad Brahma, Brahmatvad Brahma. Brahma is a composite of Shakti that we already talked about. Mahasambhuti, there is one name is Mahasambhuti. When Tarak Brahma by his own will takes the help of the 5 fundamental factors, his physical entity comes within the scope of Sagun Brahma. Otherwise, he is Nirgun Brahma. According to Tantra, this entity is known as Mahasambhuti. About Bhagwan, we know already Bha Bheti Bhasyat Lokani, which has infused the joy of living throughout the 7 lokas, as a result of which everybody's heart and mind has become illuminated. Ga is Gachati Jasmin, Agachiti Jasmat, one who comes also goes. And Bhav has 6 different attributes. We know about Aishwarya, and Aishwarya have occult power, that is 6 occult power, Anima, Laghima, Mahima, Ishitva, Ashta Aishwarya. That is Anima, Laghima, Mahima, Ishitva, Vashutva, Prapti, and Antarjami. I don't think we need to explain it. Everybody can find out and can get note. And then another name is Kal, Mahakal. But as for the Anand Sutram and ideal analogy, we should a little bit can focus about Sagun Brahma, 3 fundamental principles. Causes a kind of awareness to arise. Purusa is called Saguna. It is composite of Karan, Brahma, and Karya. The name for this created universe is Sagun. God within bondages. Sagun Brahma has infinite sanskaras. Karan Brahma and Karya Brahma. When the flow of creation reaches before the stage of Kal, causal Brahma is called Karma Brahma. When it becomes the effect, it becomes Karya Brahma. Effects means after Kala. Before Kala, it is a Karan. And when after Kala, in the Sanchara, creation cycle of Sanchara, it is Karya. Brahma is characterized by curvatures of Kala. Nirgun Brahma is final destination of the entire creation is Nirgun Brahma. God without bondage. Nirgun Brahma is the objectless entity with no action. And the Tarak Brahma. Actually, Brahma is concept of Tantra. It is a more devotional approach. Tarak Brahma is the middle point and can fulfill the function of both. The bridge between Nirgun Brahma and Sagun Brahma is called Tarak, liberating Brahma. He guides, loves, and favors his affectionate daughters and sons. He is not a figure of philosophy. It is a creation of devotional sentiment. At the point of tangential touch is the award of Tarak Brahma. Resides within the scope of both Nirguna and Sagun Brahma is Tarak. And there is another Brahma, that is Niskal Brahma. Non-attributional consciousness is called Niskal Brahma, means Nirgun Brahma. And Sakal Brahma is the resultant force of the triple principles. Causes a sprout. When there is no sprout, that is a Niskal. And Sakal, when there is sprouts to emerge in the vast body of Purusha. Hence, attributional consciousness is called Sakal Brahma, Kala, Parabrahma and Akshar Brahma. Parabrahma and Akshar Brahma is same. When Purusha is not influenced by Prakriti, where there is no expression also called Akshar Brahma. That all-knowing entity is called imperishable consciousness of Akshar Purusha. He is undecaying and infallible. And Upper Brahma or Char Brahma or Jnana Purusha is same as a quality attribution, where there is influence of Prakriti or Brahma, also called Char Brahma. So, during the detraction and attraction process, that part of Purusha which is transformed is known as Char Brahma. And the same is explained by the propounder of Ananda Marga philosophy, by the Srishanmurti. If you go through the Prabhat Sangit, that's ontology, you can get Nirgun Ambara Dambaru Sanchara, Ambo Darchi Sam, Jagile Zedin. This is a very good Prabhat Sangit, which in light of ontology, we can explain. And this is a question. In the unbared cosmos, with the first expression of sound, creation began to emerge like a colorful rainbow in the sky. When you, O my Lord of creation, preservation and destruction woke up. In the first stage of creation, there was no objective to describe. There were no beautiful forms. There were no decoration. This is the song. Anyway, I am not going to explain this. And about ontology, there are in Sanchar Kriya, or about Param Purush, there are several sutras in Anand Sutram, which can be explained, but not now, we don't have time. So second is metaphysics, subject that tries to unveil the mystery of creation. So this, if we go through the creation, the attraction of the civilization, then also here, the Western philosophers has no clear-cut ideas about how the world created and what is importance. And then Roman also, the Romans believed their lifestyles came from the gods. How the world came to begin, their creation story as follows. Earth, sea or heaven, only chaos existed, a shapeless, unorganized matter. There was no sun, no moon, and no air. In Christianity and Judaism, there is God creates a world which is good and fit for mankind. But when man corrupts it with sin, God decides to destroy his creation, saving only the righteous to re-establish the relationship between man and God. God creates the world in stage and consecrates the seventh day as a day of rest. In Islam, creation of the world, in the Quran, the heavens and the earth were joined together as one unit of creation, after which they were cloven asunder. The Quran states that the process of creation took 6 ayam. Ayam means day. The angels and the spirit will ascend to him during a day, the extent of which is 50,000 years. According to the Mufassirs, Islam acknowledges 3 different types of creation. God existed alone in eternity, and second, world was created, emanation, world was created out of nothing but not in time. The world was eternal but temporary in essence. And third is creation out of primordial matter. God fashioned the world, whole world out of primordial matters, the waters and the smoke. So these are not scientific at all. In modern era also, the origin of the universe, we know, earth and life, they are saying about the Big Bang theory, is a cosmological model of the observable universe from the earliest known periods, through its subsequent large-scale evolution. The model describes how the universe expanded. Prediction is that just before a primordial of very high density, there was a singularity, current knowledge is insufficient to determine if the singularity was primordial. Eastern approach in Sankhya philosophy, there are 24 elements. What is composite of those 24 elements? One is Prakriti, Buddhi, Aham, Manas. This is 4. And then Gyanendriya, 5 Gyanendriyas, 5 Karmendriyas, 5 Tanmatras, 5 Mahabhutas. This total is 24. But here Prakriti, Buddhi, Aham, Manas is there. In Ananda Marga is there cognitive faculty, Mahat, Aham, Chit. This is 4. It differs from the Sankhya. Yet others, Gyanendriya, Karmendriya, Tanmatra, Mahabhuta is same. So the presence of Purusha is like that of a catalytic agent. And in yoga, Sankhya is in yoga also believes that the Purusha cannot be regarded as the source of infinite world, because an intelligent principle cannot transfer to the unconscious world. This metaphysics is a pluralistic spiritualism, a form of realism built on the foundation of dualism. Basic also, this universe is composed of innumerable atoms and molecules. These are, however, only material forces. And Mimamsa, the world was never created, has never been destroyed, and has been eternally as it is now. And Vedanta, Brahma Satyam Jagat Mithya, Jiva Brahmeva Napara, Brahma alone is real. The Jagat, the creation, is false or illusionary. All Jiva are nothing except Brahma. Now, to answer the above mentioned unresolved issues pertaining to metaphysics, Ananda Marga philosophy, as enshrined in Ananda Sutram, explains the details of creation right from its cause. So, the Ananda Marga approach on metaphysics is that thought the creation, though the creation has been a very interesting subject, it still baffles scientists and philosophers. Even the theory of cause and effect does not solve the riddle, like which comes first, chicken or egg, seed or fruit. In Ananda Marga, the entire creation is studied systematically. The cause of creation is the will of the creator. It is said, Eko aham bahusyama. This thought came in mind, and this matches with the scientific belief that the point from where creation started is infinitely small and infinitely condensed. And cycle of creation, according to Ananda Marga philosophy, we have studied that how Sanchara is progressing and many to one, subtle to crude, and then one to many, crude to subtle. So from the single point of unexpressed Brahman, under the influence of Prakriti, the creation started. Purusha and Prakriti are the cause of creation. The material cause is Purusha, Prakriti is the efficient cause. Under this process of codification, the 4 factors I said, Tattvas came into existence, cognitive faculty, Mahat, Aham, Chitta, 5 fundamental factors, 5 Tanmatras, 10 organs. Creation is started as per Srishti Chakra from Bij, then Bindu, then Nad, then Kala, then mind came, Prana came, Bala came, mind came. Out of these 3, Bija came from Bhama Shakti, that is Bhama Shakti, and Rodri came out of Bija, Jeshta came out of Bindu. Between Bindu and Nad, when Om is taking the form, before Nad, Visarga comes out. Between Nad and Kala, Bindu comes out, completing the shape of Om, and then Nad is converted into Kala. And this Kala is converted into 5 fundamental factors. So this entire creation is from Nirguna to Saguna. Bij, Bindu, Nad, Kala, 5 fundamental factors, and gets metamorphosed into matter in external world, and the cosmic consciousness into Jiva as Kul Kundalini, and the sound of creation in a unit into Parashakti. Now it is very interesting. This entire process is under the influence of centrifugal force, Vidya Maya, of Prakriti. Modern physics also is of the same opinion that the creation started with a single infinitely small and condensed singularity, as nobody can say for sure when exactly the creation started. Because the material subjected to create the universe is still not exhausted. It is rightly said in scriptures, Purnamada, Purnamidam, Purnad, Purna Mudichyate, Purnasya, Purnamadaya, Purnamev Vasishyate. This is the whole, that is whole. From the whole has emerged. If the whole is removed from the whole, whole remains. When it had not acquired the shape of Nad, but still in the womb of creation, it is called Visarga. In this stage, the potentiality of sound is still in the primordial form and not in bhav idea. When the subtle potential of this sound is transformed into cruder way in the terms of philosophy, it is called Nad. And when Nad becomes curved under the influence of mutative principle, it is called Kala. Between Kala and Nad, there is an intermediate stage, which is a state of transformation from causal Brahma to effect Brahma. The intermediate stage is Anuswar. The unmanifested seed is devoid of Anuswar. The manifestative seed contains Anuswar. It is form and color. Anuswar, it is form and color. From point. The seed point represents with force Nad. Will represents will force Nad. The cognitive force and Kala represents external force. And Ananda Marga Philosophy, it studies this entire process of creation from the cause of the seed Nirguna to its metamorphosis into Jiva Bhav in a unit also called Kul Kundalini, and the metamorphosis of Shabd into Parashakti. Here philosophy and the science of grammar come into agreement to explain the process of creation from Shabd Brahma to Parashakti in Jiva. And the same is expressed from Para into Pasyanti, Pasyanti into Madhyama, Madhyama into Dyotmana, Dyotmana into Bakri, and Bakri into Shruti. So the Shabda expresses itself through all the 6 stages, from primordial sound, first into vowels, then into consonants, and then Shabda, Pada, sentence, literature, etc. Shakti goes from Muladhar, Chingu sound of silence comes. And from Swadhisthana, sound of rotation of the earth, that is the Nirtu Dhvani, you can hear. And from Manipur, when it goes, flute. And from Anahar, when it passes, Megh Garjan. And from Vishuddha, ocean, end of Nad. And Anya, then light starts, effulgence of light starts from here. This is a history of sound expressed through vocal cord. The other direction of Shabd in a unit when he becomes an introvert as a result of intuitional practice, it enters Sushumna and travels through sound, then converts into Nad, ultimately into Bindu. Means that when doing Sanchara, it is coming Bij, Bindu, Nad, Kala. In Prati Sanchara, it's opposite. It's how it is going. It travels through Kala, then Nad, then Bindu. So the process of creation, which is in 4 stages, Bij, Bindu, Nad, Kala, the merger also takes place in 3 stages, Ka, Nad, Bindu. This is the cycle of creation internally under the centripetal force Vidya Maya. And the 3 stages, it is very important to know that matter after getting powdered down with the constant working of tamoguna of Prakriti gets elevated to the stage of Chitta in the form of an amoeba and travels under 3 stages. First is physical class, second is psychic class, and third is attraction of the great. Hence completing the entire journey. Anand Sutram explains the entire creation of the universe in a first chapter and resolves the conflict of the ultimate cause of merger, the created universe, in the same flow, and solves the problem of Laya and Pralaya. In 4th chapter, it opens the knowledge of transforming a Jiva into Shiva. And I think I don't need to explain much about Ananda Marga theory of creation. We know the Sanchara, Prati Sanchara, how this the centrifugal activity of the microcosmic nucleus is known as Sanchara. The 2 factors, Purusha and Prakriti, though dual in theory, are similar in spirit. Prakriti may be defined as an attribute of Purusha, where there is no expressed activity of Prakriti. That is where activity appears to be in dormant stage. Purusha remains objectless or nirguna. This Prakriti is also a collection of 3 immanent principles: sentient or sattvic, the mutative or raja, the static or tama. So these 3, the sentient principle is the cause of pure I feeling. The mutative activates this, then transforms it into the doer I, then done I. This is a cosmic mind. In philosophy, this stage is known as Mahat Tattva. In cosmic life, the Mahat Tattva is nothing but the cosmic I. So, this mind is the collective name of Mahat Tattva, Aham Tattva, and Chitta. Its subjective counterpart being the cosmic Purusha. There is also simultaneous increase in chemical affinity. The gradual crudification results in 4 specific factors other than the ethereal one. They are the aerial, luminous, liquid, and solid. The solid factor is the crudest manifestation of the cosmic Chitta, and here the pressure of the static Prakriti of the cosmic Chitta reaches the zenith of its capacity. So the collective name of these exterior and interior forces is prana, or energy. Every solid factor therefore poses pran. Pran is the eternal gap between the cosmic cause and its crudest effect. So, like this, we know that Tibra Sangharsen Jadani Chittanu Manas Dhatuva, Tibra Sangharsen Jadani Chittanu Manas Dhatuva, that how the Jada sport occurs only in dead or dying celestial bodies, and consequently a stage will come when there will be little interatomic space within the solid body. Now if static Prakriti exerts more pressure, there will be a tremendous reaction within the physical body, affecting both the interior and exterior forces and resulting in structure dissociation. This is called. So, and there are vital portions and which is in idea and ideology, that how the matter came from out of the mind, cosmic mind, how matter came from the mind, how mind came from the matter. This part, I think, is need to be studied clearly, and then Pratisanchara and reversal of Sanchara, negative Pratisanchara, Ulamfan. This we must study, and I think here we should not explain much in this regard. Ananda Marga philosophy penetrates deeper into the ultimate cause of all the manifested effects, and enunciates that matter is the metamorphosed form of Purushottam. In the initial stage of mental creation, living structures with their underdeveloped ego cannot function independently, and therefore they work according to the will of the cosmic. On the path of Pratisanchara, the attraction of Vidya Maya increases and the unit chitta goes on marching towards Purushottam. The operative forces of this psychic dilation are three in number. These are: one, physical force created out of physical class; second, psychic force created as a result of classes in the psychic sphere; and third, spiritual force emanates from longing for it. As a result of mental dilation, that is, increase in volume and mass of the psychic body, the mind acquires more and more potentiality for multilateral activity. These are important points. I am just giving a view. The momentum of previous lives naturally creates a longing for material happiness or love for joy, and people remain unaware of the love of consciousness. The process of retracting the moment is the path of negative or counter Pratisanchara. Such a crude mind, for the sake of psychophysical parallelism, chooses a physical structure cruder than its previous objectives. In this negative Pratisanchara, the unit mind can have a backward jump, that is according to the change in mental wavelength. And unit mind goes on dilating because of the ever-increasing reflected density of the microcosmic nucleus. This is what is known the sameness of the unit and the cosmic mind is established, and the finality is associated with result in the merger of the microcosm into macrocosm. This is what is known as oneness in objectivity results in oneness in subjectivity. The fundamental principle of Ishwar Pradhan is based on this psycho-spiritual. There are several sutras in one sutram on creation. There are eight sutras on creation, and then 5 sutras on Panchbhuta, then 11 sutras on Anuman. And like this, the third branch of philosophy is epistemology, the study of knowledge. Which source of knowledge can be accepted as a valid source? But the other, already here, the Western approach is different. Ancient philosophy is different. Plato said knowledge must be unchanging. St. Augustine said ideas as it is important to emphasize that Augustine's theory of illumination concerns all knowledge, not specifically mystical or spiritual knowledge. So, already I said about Descartes that he said that I think, therefore I am. Immanuel Kant has different ideas, transcendental idealism, and Western approach is mostly on the Praman, Upaman, the proof. Then Pratyaksh, Anuman, Arthapatti, like that. There are several things. In Pratyaksh, also, Anuman means inference. So, Upaman, Arthapatti, all there are several different definitions which you may take notes from me and study this. Abhav, Shabd, Charvaki school, he said that very source of knowledge is perception. Then Baba is saying, if you have not seen your grandfather, it does not mean that he does not exist. He never came. So this is also effective source of knowledge. In Vaisesik, there is perception, inference. In Sankhya, there is pratyaksh, anuman, and shak. Nyaya, there is perception, inference, conclusion, word. In Mimamsa, there is pratyaksh, anuman, shak, upaman, and arthapatti. Now that is different. But in Ananda Marga, post-epistemology, source, nature, and validity of knowledge is para and apara knowledge. Baba has given discourse in 1969 at Ranchi. Paragyan is direct knowledge, knowing the supreme reality beyond the scope of time, space, and person. Supramandal knowledge. Supramandal knowledge is your absolute knowledge, is through the application of pinnacled intellect, agriya buddhi, that is the dilation of chitta. Baba is telling very clearly that how this dilation of chitta, portion of human mind into aham, aham into mahat, mahat into atma, and then brahma, which is the eternal fountain of knowledge. This is pinnacled intellect. Para ends the subjectivization of the internal objectivity. When intellect becomes pinnacled or pointed, your I-ness will be merged into him. When we whirl and hammer the iron, it becomes pointed or sharpened, and it can be used to cut other pieces of iron. And apragyan means that knowledge within the scope of time, space, and person, which is perceived through sense organs, which is ever changing. Mandal knowledge. And the gyan, the real meaning of gyan is the subjectivization of objectivity. Today we read and tomorrow we forget. If we now sit for the examination and for the class 10th, I think we won't be passed. And Vigyan is Gyan, and Vigyan is elements of information which are beneficial and were acquired for the permanent welfare of people are called Vigyan, science. Knowledge about the supreme entity is called science, because that also is conducive to human well-being. Real Gyan is Jnanam, Vidur Jnanam, Jnana Jnanani, Amitu, Tani Jnana, Vashani, Sarasya, Bodhana. Self-knowledge is the real knowledge. All other knowledge is a mere shadow of knowledge and will not lead to realization of the truth. So, supreme subjectivity is watching everything. We are thinking of him as well. And this idea itself becomes objectivated. The supreme subject does not become objectivated, but the thought of the supreme subjectivity does. Way to meditate or remember Param Purusa, bear in mind that in action, big or small, significant or insignificant, in wakeful state or in sleep, in dream or in reality, the supreme subjectivity is maintaining a constant and close watch on me. When this ideation becomes clear, stable, and permanent, then one fine morning we will see that we have become one with the supreme subjectivity. This is the final stage of the faculty of knowledge. Ananda Marga is a path on which the external objectivity is not ignored, although the ultimate goal remains the ultimate subjectivity, that is Param Purush. The correct course is to gain the maximum para knowledge, and along with it to acquire such and so much of apara knowledge as may be found helpful and necessary. We must remember this, helpful and necessary while dealing with the external objectivity. So the Shastra knowledge and Shastra knowledge are both necessary. For the security of life, if a sadhaka, spiritual practitioner, cannot have a security of life and live to perform his sadhana, the very question of sadhana will not arise. Three mental attitudes for a sadhaka is, he belongs to everybody and therefore he belongs to me also. This is a good. And better is, he belongs to me and therefore he belongs to everybody. And best is, he is my personal property and he does not belong to anybody else. Where to get rid, and this is a, now we can touch the fourth branches of philosophy, that is ethics. Ethics is moral philosophy, is a branch of philosophy that involves systematizing, defending, and recommending the concept of right or wrong conduct. It examines right and wrong moral behavior, moral concepts such as justice, virtue, duty, and moral language. History of ethics are very old in everywhere, in all the civilizations, and all this, everybody said about it. Mesopotamian, and then Jewish ethics are there. Sukha also, form of good itself. Aristotle also, I said already, that he said that morality is the evidence of the weak against the strong one. Greek schools of philosophy also, Epicureans and Stoics, already I said about this. The Christian ethics also, love your neighbor as yourself, love God and love your neighbor, parable of the Good Samaritan. And there are also natural law ethics. Natural law ethics is nature of humans determines with what is right and wrong. For example, murder is wrong because life is essential to human. So depriving someone of it is inherently evil. Education is needed for humans and is their right because their intellectual nature requires development. So natural law theory remains as the heart of the Catholic moral teaching. For example, in its positions on contraction and other controversial moral issues. Also, Kantian ethics are there. Immanuel Kant, who came in 18th century, argued that right and wrong are founded on duty. Also, Nietzsche, in 19th century, German philosopher, who was a child of Darwin, morality is the weapon of this. Nietzsche said this. Not sorry, this is not what said about the. This was said about the Nietzsche. Morality is the weapon of weak to be used against strong people. Lamb will, he said that lamb will always say you are immoral to a tiger if she is being eaten by the tiger. And there is utilitarianism. In 20th century also, their moral realism came. About behavior has been said so many things. Modern moral philosophy. Ethics in various religions, we know already the Buddhist ethics. There is Panchashil, no killing, stealing, laying, sexual misconduct or intoxicants. So noble eightfold is there in ethics. So proper philosophy, proper determination, proper speech, proper occupation, proper exercise, proper work, proper memory, proper attainment of samadhi. So Buddha declares ahimsa, the doctrine of non-violence, to be the highest of them. He also greatly emphasized morality. This is a difference from the Ananda Marga, that it's a paramo-dharma. Non-violence suggests an intimate involvement with the relationship to all living beings. In Mangal Sutra, it has been also said that commands reverence, humility, contentment, gratitude, patience, generosity, etc. Christian ethics also love, grace, mercy, forgiveness, because of sin, virtuous in both thought and deeds. Kingdom of God, a righteous society where all live in peace and harmony with God and nature. Confucius ethics also, it is situational ethics it is called. Taoist ethics also, if you want to awaken all of humanity, then awaken all of yourself. If you want to eliminate the suffering in the world, then eliminate all that is dark of negative in yourself. Vedic ethics is Niti Shastra, virtue, right, conduct, ethics, and morality are part of the complex concept called dharma. Everything that is essential for people, the world, and nature is to exist and prosper together in harmony. Dharma does not have a synonym in English language. Ethics that constitute a dharmic life, a moral, ethical, virtuous life, which is said in Veda and Upanishad. Virtuous necessary for a human being to live a dharmic life is Dhiti, Chama, Dhamma, Seyam, Vidya, Satya, Krodham, Sauch, Satyam. Persian historian also has given Vedic culture is essential for a liberated life. Bhagavad Gita also ahimsa must be read, but in Bhagavad Gita, ahimsa what was given earlier has been re-examined, as Lord Krishna is saying the real meaning of ahimsa. And there is Islamic ethics, moral responsibility, but mostly there are tit for tat that is not right on humanitarian ground. So Jain ethics also there. The ahimsa, satya, aste, brahmacharya, aparigraha, they have their own concept and definition. And now the ethical principles of Ananda Marga is rudimental and universalistic. It's very scientific. It is for all the ages. There is no question that this belongs to this religion and that religion, and it is not good for us and it is not good for others. There are 5 kinds of yama and 5 kinds of niyama, whose very purpose is to regulate the external and internal behavior of human beings, according to the highest principles. Yama is psychophysical emanation, and niyama is physico-psychic movement. So it has very broad scope to get liberation also through brahmacharya and Ishwar Pranidhan. So we already know. I don't need to explain ahimsa, satya, aste, brahmacharya, aparigraha, sauch, santosh, or swadhyaya, Ishwar Pranidhan. This is to have the Ishwar Pranidhan this is to have some faith in Ishwara, the cosmic controller in pleasure and pain, prosperity and adversity, and to think of oneself as the instrument and not the welder of the instrument in all the affairs of life. So Junium, burning the iron, and sadhana is hampering. So like this, see, in Western philosophy, observance of ethical principles is considered the primary goal in life. But Ananda Marga philosophy considers that ethical observance is the primary step towards higher life. Niti or ethical principle is not the goal of human life. Rather, it is a starting point of one's spiritual journey. No attachment to worldly objects will be developed if we observe Jam and Niyam, since every item of Jam and Niyam is part of Brahma Sadhana through worldly deeds. When you are able to perfectly observe the spiritual practice of Jam and Niyam, your mind becomes absorbed in Brahma. The ultimate goal of this spiritual practice, nothing is alien, but Brahma is the second lesson of Brahma. And mental purity helps particularly in keeping a person healthy. In pure thought, increase the acidity of the blood and invite disorders of the stomach, heart and brain. That is why every human being should make as strong habit as possible of selfless service. And Ishwar Pranidhan, very important. The best way to attain mental purity is to follow the principles of Germany. Human cardinal principles. Human cardinal principles are the silver lining between the psycho, spiritual, and spiritual strata of human existence. The meeting point of the spiritual and psycho-spiritual strata is called the human cardinal stratum. So, like this, the point where humanity ceases to exist as it merges in divine beatitude, the culminating point of animality is the commencement of humanity. The highest peak of human progress is the beginning of divine bliss. Where animality ends, humanity begins. Where humanity ends, divinity begins. The meeting point of the highest element of humanity and the blossoming of divinity is the base on which the cardinal human principles are established. Jam and Niyam constitute the very base of life of a spiritual aspirant and serve as a beacon in the life of a spiritual aspirant to dispel all darkness from the mind. These 10 weapons of Jam and Niyama give the sadhak the spiritual strength to fight against all sorts of crudeness. The attainment of Brahma is the only desired goal of their lives, and the weapon for their ceaseless struggle to attain the goal is Jam. And the point there is Pap and Pratyabhai, how Baba defines so nicely, and it encircles everything. He is telling that Pap is what you must not do, you are doing. And Pratyabhai is what you should do and you are not doing. So if somebody is just not doing his duty, is Pratyabhai. So this is very clear ideas which help the human society. So one chapter is here in this ethics, Niti and Dharma. So it is said that Khemarthe Nayanam Ityarthi. Nayan means to lead. Niti is that which leads a unit being towards Khem. That which leads you in a particular direction for your care or welfare is called Niti. Here is Hita. Hita is good. Subha. Subha is it in intellectual and spiritual field. Hita is in physical matter and spiritual field. Kalyan is in spiritual progress. Let there be spiritual progress. Niti means simply that which leads or the entity which possesses the capacity of leading. And morality and Niti. The word morality is generally used as an English term. And what is the difference between Niti and Dharma? Niti is different from morality. We should know this. There is no exact synonym for Niti. Niti is based on certain mundane and supra-mundane principles. Collection of do's and don'ts. Do's vidhi, don'ts nishad. But Dharma, on the other hand, is a conduct, practical, a cult, not a desire, but a will to do something. Dharmacharan, not anacharan. Dharma satatvam nihitam guhayam mahajanoyen kata sapam. It is said. Conduct is the principal factor in Dharma. Punya, Pap, Sadhu, we know, we should go through it. What is a Pap? Ashtadhasuranesu vasasya vachanam dvayam paropkaya punyaya papaya parpidanam sadhu pranaya tatmano visata bhutanam apite tatha atmapavayena bhutanam dayam kurvanti sadhava. Just as my life is dear to me, similarly the life of other creature is dear to it. Every entity loves its own existence. In light of this truth, evolved human beings feel mercy for each and every object of the creation. So, Tyaj Durjan Samsargam Sat Bhaj Sadhu Samagamam Kuru Punyam Ahoratram Asmat Nitya Nityatam. Avoid association with the wicked and associate with the virtuous. Do good 24 hours a day and remember the eternal. Ethics is a means to an end, not an end in itself, as per Ananda Marga Philosophy. Morality is the base, sadhana the way, and life divine is the goal. And now, fifth and last branch of the philosophy is psychology. Fifth one is psychology. The scientific study of the human. It is not last one, it is the fifth one. Sixth one is the spiritual kind. So fifth one is psychology, the scientific study of the human mind and its functions, especially affecting behavior in given context. So this psychology actually is from yoga psychology, if we go through yoga psychology, we will come to know so many things. And also the something as Aristotle also has so said, mostly it is a general part of the general science, and Baba has associated. This is a beauty, uniqueness that Baba added this as a branch of psychology, branch of philosophy. So this psychology is very important, because unless we know the mind, unless we know the science of mind, unless we know the layers of mind, unless we know the this compartment of mind, we cannot proceed further. We cannot. Baba is telling we must move after knowing everything. So we should know what is mind. Mind is divided into conscious, subconscious, and unconscious mind. Expression of mind, whether crude or subtle, depends upon the different kosas. So these factors, what is manus, what is human, the physical structure, body grows in complexity in order to serve as a proper vehicle for the expression of a developed mind. When the psychic activities are canalized in the different directions or engaged in combating various obstacles, the brain, the medium of the mind, is bound to become more complex. Then human mind and progress. We should know the origin of mind. Man eva manushyanam karanam bandhan mokshayo. Mind is the cause of bondages and liberation. So composition of mind is mahat tattva, aham tattva, chitta tattva. Functional parts of mind is conscious mind, subconscious mind, unconscious mind. 4 stages of mind is Jagrat, Swapna, Susupti, Turiya. Turiya is merger in cosmic consciousness. The 5 layers of Chitta is Kammay Kosh, Manomay Kosh, Ati Manas Kosh, Vijnanamay Kosh, Hiranyamay Kosh. The mind is divided into 2 chambers and subjective chambers. Mind involves 5 things: conscious mind, subconscious mind, unconscious mind, cerebral memory, extracerebral memory. So this we have to study, we must study it, then it will help in sadhana. Mind and its tendencies are human psychology. Human mind has 2 contradictory inherent tendencies: acquisition and sacrifice. Human psychology, one wishes to share one's mental pleasure with others. Mind moves in 3 dimensions: intro, extro, towards spirituality. Mind flows in 2 intertwining channels: positive tendencies, negative tendencies. Occupation of mind is sankalpanatma and vikalpatma. Mind and action, pratyamulak and sanskarmulak. 4 faculties of mind is: mind thinks, the mind discovers and invents newer modes of thinking. The mind remembers. Diversion of different psychic pebula in a scientific manner. The mind has scope for rationality and rationalization. Different stages of concentration is chitta, mood, vichit, ekagra, nirodha. And 4 micropsychic longing is: one is inborn and natural instinct, one is the longing are created after development of so many plexi. Third, one wants that one's psychic emanation should be from crude to subtle. Psychic body needs a close cooperation, realism, and maintain proper equipoise and proper equilibrium with physical existence. And 4th is apex psychology or pinnacle psychology. Here the mental faculties along with controlling faculties will move upwards and finally get pointed, and that point is lost in the supracognitive entity. This is the goal of all living beings. So sentiment, rationality, and conscience, we should study this. Then main branches of psychology is general psychology, biopsychology, parapsychology, and apex or pinnacle psychology. When the movement of the human mind is not in many lateral directions, north, south, east, west, but towards the supreme entity, then the mind becomes apex, pinnacle. This pointed mind either merges in the macrocosm or gives up its individual existence in the supreme cognitive faculty. Then we also should know the science of vritti, instinct, and propensities. This is a completed fifth part, chapter, this branch of the philosophy. And the last one is spiritual cult. In the West, cult is taken in negative term, but cult is practice. Adhyatmik anushilan in Sanskrit, spiritual practice. Thus far, all philosophies have remained completely unaware of spiritual cult. Although new ideas in the domain of philosophy has failed to establish its link with the dusty earth, and a philosophy which has no relation with the dusty earth nor with the children of the soil has no practical value. Philosophy is meant for the welfare of the entire creation. Includes all beings, but spiritual cult is for human beings only for the moment. Ananda Marga philosophy is unique in this respect. Spiritual cult is a new addition to philosophy. Ananda Marga philosophy stands to implement its ideology in order to establish a coordination between philosophy and practical life. Ananda Marga has evolved a spiritual cult on the basis of Tantra. What is a Tantra? Expansion and liberation. 360 degree. The process of transforming latent divinity into the supreme divinity is known as Tantra sadhana. The sleeping divinity in animality is termed as the language of spirituality, spiritual inspired, the Kul Kundalini. So we find what actually the spirit of Tantra sadhana lies in infusing a vibration in the Kul Kundalini and pushing her up towards the spiritual goal. Liberation from bondage. Ta is sound, Tra is that which liberates. Anand Sutram, the Ananda Marga Comprehensive Philosophy, chapter 4 is the practical approach to the cult on the basis of which unit reaches the cosmic through a systematic practice of Tantra. This makes chapter 4 different from chapter 1. Chapter 1 is philosophical, chapter 4 is in the light of Tantra. But same thing has been said. The first chapter being the philosophical part to explain systematically the theory of creation, and chapter 4 is the practical application. A person who, irrespective of caste, creed, or religion, aspires for spiritual expansion or does something concrete in a tantric is a tantric. Tantra in itself is neither a religion nor an ism. Tantra is practical spiritual science. So wherever there is any spiritual practice, it should be taken for granted that it stands on the tantric cult. To remain satisfied with a little is contrary to human nature. That is why since the dawn of creation, human beings have been worshipping the supreme entity. People long for supreme knowledge, for indirect and direct spiritual realization. This foundation, this fundamental human yearning for supreme expansion led people to discover the practical cult of spirituality. So the constant effort to strengthen the curves of the mind, along with the strengthening of our mental waves, we have to serve the creation without any discrimination, as we owe many things to the creation for our survival and nourishment. Therefore, this should be every individual's bounden duty. When their mental waves become parallel to the spiritual waves, they merge with the Creator. The science of the cult that helps the process is termed as a spiritual cult or sadhana in Ananda Marga philosophy. This branch was missing in the entire annals of history of philosophy, Occidental or Oriental. This is the mission of Ananda Marga, Atmokshartham Jagat Hitaya. Ontology has been a controversial branch of philosophy throughout history. Ananda Marga philosophy, which is a cult of realization through its spiritual practice. But how can someone describe God in words? The subject who has to be realized, not an object which can be comprehended in words. So somebody very rightly said that if you do not ask about God, I know God. But in case you ask, I know not, I know not. This appears to be true as it can only be realized, not described in words. So goal of life is, it's very important. Last question I have achieved. Goal of life is food, ahar, ras, then rakta, then med, asthi, majja, sukra, and then converted into chit. It should be converted into through sadhana into chit, then aham, then mahat, then atma, then paramatma. So this will be from kala, nag, bindu. And how we will cross from kala? Through shravan, from nag through manan, and bindu through nididhyasana, complete surrenderance of mind. And for this last portion of spiritual cut, there is also one Prabhat Sangit, Rupe Deol Maje, Aru Patan Fuji, Bhavi Jodi Kripa Kona. This we can sing. I search for the formless gem in the temple of forms, hoping for a wee bit of your grace. I have neither any qualities nor knowledge or competence. Hence, I act relying solely on your grace. I was pathless, a pauper. You showed me the way and gave me strength to move. So, this is the philosophical treatise of Ananda Marga. And I tried my level best to explain it in comprehensive way in light of Namaste Shantai, also in light of different philosophers, philosophies. And thank you so much. And sorry that I had a lot of time. Namaskar.
So, we would like to invite some questions.
Yeah.
If participants like to ask any question regarding this class, relevant question, and if technical question regarding registration and somebody was not able to join, I will answer that question later on. So if you have any question, better to type rather than this. There is one button like like hand. If you raise that hand, then we will how to say, we will accept your question, and you will be redirect to the classroom here. And again, your question is ended. Then you have to again, you will log out from here, and you will have to again join from your original link, what we have sent you. So let us know. I would like to ask trainer Dada, whether should we invite any question?
Yeah, sure.
Sure. Yeah. Anybody has question, whether they can type or they can speak, raise their hand. I think you made a such in a such a good explanation. So everybody, I think they understood, and I think they don't have any question right now.
Yeah, there is references I can give that you go through the Anand Sutram, Idea and Ideology, Anand Marga Elementary Philosophy, Yoga Psychology, Discourses on Tantra, Anand Marga Philosophy in a nutshell from part 1 to 8, Tattva Comedy part 1, New Humanism, A Guide to Human Conduct, that is and then Tattva Pravesika, and the Baba's speech is on microcosm and microcosm. Several places Baba has delivered discourse on it. Then Nama Siva Shantai also in light of Lord Shiva. Baba has given philosophy in light of Lord Shiva. And Mami Krishna Sundaram, philosophy in light of Raj Krishna and past Hare Krishna. Then Western philosophy by Bertrand Russell, Eastern philosophy by Dr. Radhakrishnan. So this is actually, I have taken the points from these things, these parts, and Dada Rudrananda helped me so much. He guided, he inspired, and he also said many points he has given to me to understand, and it helped me in sadhana also. Because when I was studying the Sanchar Prati Sanchar, this cycle of creation, I was seeing that Baba is sitting in place of Purushottam, that is a Bindu and Bij, at the point of Bij, and Baba is explaining how the creation has taken place, how it was created, like that Baba himself sitting there and explaining everything. This helped me very much. And the final words, I will say that any new philosophy before its acceptance has to undergo 3 stages, as taught by a German philosopher, Arthur Schopenhauer. It is ignored, it is opposed, and third, it is accepted for the causes being self-evident. So we are in phase of establishment, it is accepted, and this establishes the supremacy of the philosophy of Ananda Marga. And I think that sadhana, our practice, will only purify us, will help us to comprehend it by heart and mind.
There is one question Raghavananda Dada is asking. It is possible to give the class notes, please? So in that I would like to answer that this is directly relating to the YouTube. After 1 hour, you will get it in YouTube, all the classes. From there, you can download, you can have multiple time of, you can watch it. Even you can ask your Margis to join there. So we will have some more here in our, how to say this, our YouTube channel. That is Ananda Marga Center. And also, we have already uploaded this PowerPoint. You can download it from here. And also, we have here seminar notes, so I can share it now. So within within a minute, it will be shared. So I think lot of I think you have made a nice presentation. I hope our participant, maybe they have got a lot of points for their.
I would like to give special thanks to P.R.S. Dadaji, Harishanandji. Since 10 days he is trying his level best to organize the things, because it is new for us. It is just like an experiment we are initiating. I think this will have broader scope future, that everybody will become trainer and train the world in light of the philosophy of Ananda.
I would like to say that regarding this platform, this is really wonderful platform. I was searching a lot of platform that how to organize this webinar, and this is the most top 10 this platform. This we have a lot of feature here, so we can use and this how to say, like if I would like to write here, so
beautiful,
like
it is very relevant.
This is very nice platform, so we can use this one. Is a very good platform. Second thing I would like to say that in the next level, if you will carry on like this in this situation, in this lockdown situation, this is the best platform where we can reach all levels of our Margis. And I am also planning to organize it. I will request Rudran Dada, Samusivan Dada, Bimlan Dada, Subhatman Dada. I am planning to make are you meeting or this seminar classes to the world, and we can make it better way. We can, if you can use this platform, we have 2,000 viewers and 5,000 viewers. If you can buy for 5,000 viewers, and that will be very nice. And I have more plan. I have already explained to yeah, our smooth secretary and yeah, Rudran Dada and Madhuvratananda. So we can really use this platform, and we can get our data. Means till now, after maybe 50 years, having now yeah, 50 years have been passed, but we have not yet made our data ready. So through this, within 1 month, we can make our data. We can have our data, worldwide data. I would like to request our SS Dadas, please. Today I was watching out of 56 registrant, there was only 44. Some maybe they have problem with yeah, registration. So I would like to say this. As soon as you register, there will be 3 reminders. One is immediately we will send one reminder by your email. There you can get your link. And second reminder is 24 hours before. Suppose tomorrow is class, maybe you have gotten one email also 24 hours before, and one is 15 minutes before. And apart from that, you can also use your Google tool, means a reminder for your Google Calendar. So you will your Google Calendar will also remind you, so you won't miss this class. And second thing, if somebody by technical problem, somebody did not receive their link, let me know. Don't hesitate me, but little earlier, because I'm assisting this in the back end to the presenter, and I will not able to guide you. But still, there was some problem. I was able to sort out those problems. So, yeah. And second thing is, yeah, that's it from my side. Maybe we will meet tomorrow. And this is 3 hours yeah, time we get for the classes. Now it is 58 minutes again left. So I think you may have enjoyed this class, and we would like to see you tomorrow. And if anybody has question, no. Kripananda is asking if possible with PowerPoint. Yeah, I will share that one. We have PowerPoint here, and quick slide I can view it like this one. Let us start from this beginning. I think this is the PowerPoint we in the various short span of time we made this yeah, PowerPoint. Yeah, this is yeah. Start from here. So this is the quick PowerPoint that Darshan Shastra and Anand Sutram is our philosophical treatise, and there are 4 parts have been accepted as our trainer already explained. First is oncology, then Brahma, then
Metaphysics.
then metaphysics, and so on. And but Baba added 2 more yeah, things. Baba, yeah. So better you can go to your seminar class, seminar notes. You will have it, and we will also share this. I think it is shared. This PowerPoint, and really you will enjoy. And I think in below level seminar class you will explain in better way. And I think in this lockdown situation, we were this is the best we can do. I don't, yeah, I apologize if somebody has technical issue or not yeah, joining this class. So this is the end of the slideshow. So yeah, There is one more question. Devaranand, thank you. Okay, thank you, Dada. Leela, thank you, Dada. No problem. Kundan, I think the live streaming of whatever you are discussing is also being telecasted on YouTube. Yeah, yeah, it is yeah, telecasting. Maybe if you are not getting now, and it will be uploaded within 1 hour. It is simultaneously doing. I don't have to do anything. It is I have programmed in the yeah, and, when I was programming this class. So yeah, this is good, and thank you very much for joining this class. So I would like to request our Ismuk Dada. Can you come? Can you turn on your camera, please? And because we were expecting you to join this class in the early, maybe you had technical problem. So would like to listen from you. Hello, hello, Ismuk Dada. He's there, but anyway, tomorrow I will again ask him. He is with us, but maybe he has some technical issue. I will try to sort out. So thank you very much for joining this seminar Central Training class. And I would like to request SS Dada once again, if your workers are unable to do, please help them to guide. Thank you and namaskar. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.